Before Mississippi State's bowl game in 2022, they suffered an unexpected loss of beloved head coach Mike Leach. He was loved by millions across the college football world, but now it's a new era in Starkville. Zach Arnett is taking over with a brand new coaching staff and a brand new philosophy. So can Mississippi State continue to climb the ranks in the SEC, or is Zach Arnett going to need some time to figure things out in Starkville? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. It's prediction season. That means I'm predicting all 133 FBS college football teams, and it means I'm doing your favorite team. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you know when your favorite team gets uploaded. But there are more ways for you guys to support my channel than just that. Heck, you're doing one right now by watching the video, and you can do more by liking, commenting, sharing. Really, anything you can do to help support the channel does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate it greatly. Let's talk about Mississippi State in 2023. Zach Arnett is taking over, as I said, and the philosophy around this team is going to change. Hey, how do preview predictions work? We're going to go through a roster preview, kind of looking at who the team lost, who they're getting back, and what players are coming in through the portal and recruiting class. And then we're going to go through and predict game by game Mississippi State's 2023 schedule. So without further ado, let's take a look at Mississippi State in 2023. I'll highlight the coaching staff in a little bit here, but we are first going to speak on their roster, right? Their starting quarterback over the past couple seasons, Will Rogers, comes back for the Bulldogs. 3,974 yards, 68% completion percentage, 35 touchdowns, and 8 picks for Rogers last year. However, there is some uncertainty about whether or not he will get the starting job, whether or not he remains that starter due to his presence in the pocket, and sometimes he has a sort of lack of awareness. So in comes former Vanderbilt transfer Mike Wright to be what I would presume that backup, although he definitely could still compete for that starting position if they like his pocket presence a little bit better. I have to think, though, that the big arm and big playability of Will Rogers will keep him in that starting role. But in case the coaching staff is not liking what they're seeing from him, Mike Wright is sitting right there for good use, and Mike Wright can provide some solid minutes to this team. In the skill position groupings, let's look at the running back room first. You lose Dylan Johnson, your second leading rusher from last year, but your leading rusher comes back in Jo'quavious Marks. For Marks, 582 yards, 9 touchdowns a season ago. And then Simeon Price, who was a depth piece for this team last year, only got 30 carries. Will get a whole lot more here in 2023. And who knows, these running backs may get a whole lot more, period. Mike Leach, not known for running the football. We know him for his air raid attack, and since he tragically passed away, we're going to get a different philosophy, so maybe the running backs get a little bit more use, but the wide receivers will still get plenty of use with a quarterback like Will Rogers here. You're going to lose your leading receiver in Ra Thomas, 626 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. He was second on the team in touchdowns. The guy that was first, Caleb Ducking, had 8 touchdowns, was your 4th leading receiver. He is gone, and then Austin Williams, a piece back there, got 34 catches, is gone as well. However, there's still some good pieces returning for this Bulldogs wide receiver core. Rufus Harvey, LaDietrich Griffin were your second and third leading rushers, and then Jaden Wally and Justin Robinson were your 5th and 6th leading receivers last year. So you're getting some nice pieces back in the wide receiver room. Who's throwing him the football, though? More likely than not, I think it's going to be Will Rogers, but Mike Wright's going to get some playing time too, so we'll see what the quarterbacks can do. Quick pause for a water break. Now, also, Mike Leach never really utilized the tight end room, right? So, Jo'quavious Spivey and Ryland Goad, I believe is how you say that last name, but again, I apologize for any mispronunciations. They are both transferring in to this program to give this team some tight ends to work with, right? In the offensive line, you're going to lose LaQuinton Sharp while you return Cameron Jones and Cole Smith. So that's it for the offensive side. Moving on to the defensive side, up front on the defensive line, you're going to lose Cameron Young, who had 1 sack, 38 tackles last year, and Randy Charlton, 36 tackles, 4 sacks, in each of the 2 with a pass defended last season. On the defensive line, who you have returning, Nathan Pickering, Jordan Davis, not to be confused with Georgia's Jordan Davis, and then Jaden Crumady, I believe is how you say that last name. But again, I apologize if I mispronounce any names here. Those are going to be the guys that are leading your defensive line. As far as linebackers, you lose Tyus Wheat, who was tied for the team lead with 6 sacks, also was your 5th leading tackler with 54 of them, did have a pick last year as well. However, this is going to be a pretty good linebacking group as you return your top 2 tacklers. Both of them had over 100 tackles. Jet Johnson led the way with 115, 2 sacks for him. And Nathaniel Watson was not far behind, 113 for him, and tied for the team lead with Wheat last year with 6 sacks. Also some guys that are going to be depth pieces for them, Deshaun Page and JP Purvis will be there in the linebacking room as well. Now in the defensive backs, you lose a lot of talent here. Emmanuel Forbes was fantastic last year, 11 passes defended, 6 interceptions, 3 of which he returned for pick sixes. Colin Duncan is gone. Jalen Green is gone as well, 7 passes defended, 2 picks for him. And then Jackie Matthews also leaves this team as well. He had 2 picks himself. A lot of really good talent leaving the Mississippi State Bulldogs secondary. However, you return DeCamerion Richardson, Marcus Banks, and Sean Preston, while getting some transfers to help bolster that secondary in Chris Keys and Jacoby Albert. So, this is a Mississippi State team that's undergoing a new philosophy with head coach Zach Arnett, bringing an offensive coordinator in Kevin Barbay, who's known for his big playability, and then defensive coordinator is Matt Brock. Let's take a look at the 2023 schedule for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. If you see a game that's underlined, if you see a week and a date that's underlined, that's going to be a home game. If you see a game in italics or the slanted text, it's a game on the road. And any game in green that I highlight will be a game that I think Mississippi State's going to win pretty easily. Yellow, maybe watch out. This could be a game that they lose, but I still think they're going to win. And then red is, of course, a loss. So without further ado, here is your schedule predictions for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And they're going to get a nice, cool, calm, easy win against an FCS opponent. And I believe that Southeastern Louisiana there in week 1 should be not a challenge at all, and they should roll through that game easily. But get into week 2 now. The job, just trying to catch my breath a little bit. The job that Jed Fish has done at Arizona has been magnificent. And I think Arizona is going to be a team that's going to push to make a bowl game this season, and Arizona's not going to make this game easy for Mississippi State at all. And you got 2 really good quarterbacks in Jaden DeLore for Arizona, Will Rogers for Mississippi State. I think this is going to be a battle. I think this is going to be a very fun game to watch, although at the end of the day, I trust what Mississippi State has a little bit more. I trust their talent a little bit more. Close game, but I do have Mississippi State walking away with a very narrow win against Arizona. So they're starting off the year 2-0. And then when you look at their next 3 games, I think things are going to go downhill real fast for Mississippi State. You play week 3 against LSU, and LSU love what Brian Kelly has. I think this is going to be a really good LSU team. I just don't see Mississippi State being able to match up with what LSU is going to bring to the table. So I got Mississippi State losing that game against LSU, as I have them losing against South Carolina as well. I think South Carolina is going to be a team that's going to build off of that ending momentum they had to last season. I think Spencer Rattler is only going to get better. I really like a lot of the pieces that the South Carolina team has had, and it's going to be Mississippi State's first true road test, first road test of any capacity, period. I think South Carolina is going to be a pretty fun team to watch this year. I don't see Mississippi State being able to keep up. Give me South Carolina to win that game. And then you got the game against Alabama, and it's a similar story when you look at the game against LSU. Alabama, when you compare them to Mississippi State, is just supremely talented, and I know they get both of those games at home. Something I didn't mention in the LSU game that I'll mention here with Bama, but you can apply it to both. I think Starkville's going to be loud. I think Starkville's going to be proud. These are some of the best fans in the SEC, if not in the entirety of college football. But the talent levels of both LSU, as I mentioned earlier, and Alabama will outperform Mississippi State, and that's why I got Alabama being able to win that game there. So after starting off 2-0, you lose 3 straight games, but no worries. I think you get right back on track with a nice, easy win against Western Michigan. And there is your halfway point. Coincidentally, also your bye week. Okay, not a terrible start for Zach Arnett and company, but maybe Mississippi State fans would like it to go a little bit better. Well, now you go to a team whom you've had their number, and that is Arkansas. Arkansas does have a lot of question marks for me, right? Is KJ Jefferson going to be healthy? Who is going to end up catching the ball for KJ Jefferson at Arkansas, right? How does the linebacking group work? They lost a lot of talent in that secondary as well. Arkansas, my apologies, is a very, very interesting team to look at. However, with Mississippi State going on the road, I think by this point, Arkansas has found those guys, right? And not to mention Rocket Sanders, one of the best running backs in the country, if not, or one of the best running backs in the SEC, if not the entire country. I think Arkansas is going to do enough here. Mississippi State, I don't think is going to have much luck going on the road. And I think Arkansas is going to be able to beat Mississippi State, dropping Mississippi State to 3-4. And then I think they drop to 3-5 with a loss to Auburn here as well. Hugh Freeze and company bringing in a lot of very talented transfers. Auburn, for me, is a sleeper team in the SEC. I love what the Tigers have coming in to this year. And I think Auburn's going to be up to the task here against Mississippi State. So Mississippi State, not off to a great start to the season. They were off to a pretty solid start. They dropped 3, and now they're on another 2-game losing streak that I think is going to end with this game against Kentucky. Kentucky, for me, is a sleeper team in the SEC, much like Auburn here. I just do not see Mississippi State losing this game at home. I think the fans are going to be too loud. Mississippi State knows, okay, we got to start picking things up here. They would only have 3 wins through 8 weeks is what I am predicting. So Kentucky, I do think, is going to go down at the hands of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So the Bulldogs starting to get back on track. Before, you got to go on the road, play in another tough environment against Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M is a team that has a make or break year, but they have a quarterback that Jimbo Fisher is very confident in, and Connor Weigman. Lots of talent on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Mississippi State going on the road. Again, I don't know how much luck they are going to have there on the road, and I think they end up dropping that game to Texas A&M, so that's it. You cannot suffer another loss if you still want to make a bowl game here at Mississippi State. They are 4-6 by my projections. You should get an easy win here with Southern Miss. I don't think they're going to be too much of a challenge for Mississippi State, so it all comes down to the showdown on Thanksgiving against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I think, is going to be a really solid team. I think they're going to have a really good record at this point in the year, but Mississippi State's got too much to play for. They got a bowl game to play for, and Zach Arnett, I know, has experienced this rivalry before as the defensive coordinator. I think he's going to have his troops ready. Ole Miss, we know, brings a lot of offensive firepower, but Mississippi State has the ability to bring that there as well. And I think Mississippi State, very close game, but they do enough to make a bowl game and beat their rival in Ole Miss. So I got Mississippi State sitting at 6-6. I think this has the potential to be a very, very good team if Zach Arnett can really start to get things rolling. But just too many questions, too many uncertainties for me. So I got Mississippi State sitting at 6-6. But that's going to do it for my preview and prediction for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Let me know your predictions in the comment section below. And until the next one, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.